Hello and welcome to a particularly special edition of Rory on Air. I'm back on holiday in the Orkney Islands, and more specifically here on my childhood home, the island of Auskerry. It's July 2018 and Lizi and I have driven over 500 miles from Manchester to the northern tip of the Scottish mainland. We then took a ferry to Orkney and we're now aboard this beautifully restored local fishing boat on the final leg of our journey to Auskerry. It's so great to be able to come back here and experience the sort of chilled out, slower pace of island life and just enjoy the weather changing so much, the wildlife, the sheep here, the seabirds, the beautiful views. It really is a very stunning place to spend time, and I'm very lucky to be able to come and do it. We've been out in the boat, we've been catching mackerel and doing a bit of fishing. We've been fishing off the rocks, we've been creeling and catching lobsters, and lots of other things as well out here on Auskerry. But I wanted to share this with you because it's actually here, believe it or not, on the island where my love of aviation first began. Because when you're a sort of smallish lad, I was around 6 or 7, and you're being homeschooled every day in the house, and you know, there's a few fishing boats around and maybe the odd jet from RAF Kinross or somewhere like that, but not really a huge amount of random stuff going on, shall we say. And every now and again I'd hear this noise, and it would be the sound of the Northern Lighthouse Board's helicopter. They had a Bolko 105, bright red, run by Bond helicopters, and it used to come out here from a ship that would be moored off just off the lighthouse, and they would fly over and they would spend a day or maybe more flying equipment back and forth from the ship to the land to look after the lighthouse. And it was hugely exciting. I used to jump up from my desk in the house, leg it out the front door so I could watch the helicopter come in, and then it would disappear behind the hill next to the lighthouse, and I would just have to run down the island every time to go and stand there agawp and watch this helicopter. It just was the coolest thing ever. The way it smelt, the way it moved in every direction, just the whole ambience of it was just incredibly exciting. So that was what really whet my appetite for aviation, and I've never sort of let it go since. I've always wanted to be able to fly, and I do love helicopters, but the microlights at the moment are slaking my thirst for aviation, which is fabulous. But I wanted to share that with you and kind of give you a little bit of background into where I've come from and what I was into. And funnily enough, whilst I was here with Lizi in the first week back on my holiday, a friend of mine who lives in Orkney, who runs Lamb Home Airstrip, Tommy, came out in his Zen Air Stoll aeroplane to visit and have a cup of coffee with us, and he landed up on the hill and well, he took me and Lizi up for a flight.
What do you think of that then?
That was amazing. Can you get one of these?
With the flying done for today, it's time to do some work, so we're off to the peat bank. Poetically described as cutting thick pages from the Book of Fire, these slabs of ancient compressed plant matter are dug from a trench and laid out on the ground to dry. They're our main fuel supply on the island, along with any driftwood that might get washed ashore. This beautiful but unforgiving coastline along the southeast side of Auskerry claimed its own shipwreck on the 13th of June 1926. The 115-metre-long British-built steam cargo ship SS Hastings County ran aground at night in thick fog. You can still see the crankshaft, propeller shaft and parts of the boilers lying on the rocks less than 1,000 feet from the lighthouse. Mum and Dad have a flock of around 600 North Ronaldsay rare breed sheep here on the island and produce artisan sheepskin rugs, throws and yarn. Check out isleofauskerry.com to find out more. During a walk around the island, Lizi and I rescued this lamb which had managed to trap her back right leg in a fence. We carried her home for some TLC and Lizi spent time helping her regain the strength to walk again. Since we've left, Molly the Rolly has recovered enough to rejoin the flock. The tide is out, so it's time to check the creels. Sometimes referred to as lobster pots, these steel and net traps are baited with fish and left to soak for up to a few days. My brother Hamish and I set off across the slippery rocks with hopes of catching something interesting. The first creel has a conger eel in it. They live in dark holes, have backwards facing teeth and are pretty vicious, so we let that go. The next creel is in deeper water and fares much better, with not one, not two, but 3 lobsters. 2 of them are undersized youngsters, so we put them back in the sea. But the biggest one will make for a tasty starter at supper. With the creels rebaited with fresh fish and reset for tomorrow, it's time to head home and enjoy the sunset with a gin and tonic.
Right, I got it.
serious docking. We're heading out in the dinghy for an evening fishing trip. We've got the fishing gear, we've got a bucket, we've got a knife.
You got the fishing gear? Where?
I've got a phone.
Where's the fishing gear?
Well, you put it in the front, Dad, didn't you? They are amazing birds. I think they're one of my favourite ones. Yeah, just because the way they catch fish just seems so impossible.
Sean who hunts.
Oh, get in! I'm caught on the way down! Get in! This is like shooting fish in a barrel.
I'm caught enough, go home.
Mackerel are great fun to catch. Hamish and I will use some of them to bait the creels, and the rest of them will go in the deep freeze for Dad to enjoy over the winter.
They're just so wriggly.
Still another one over the side there, Hamish. Yeah, you got two more on that one. Just drop it, they should bite on the way down.
Oh, okay.
That's a...
Oh, yeah. Well, that's quite fun. And it's a decent size. And usually it's the cavers suddenly become more interesting. So caught so little this year other than that.
We've got a fender. I'm off. We're now on a waterborne mission to rescue two more sheep that have clambered down the cliff and are trapped on these rocks with very little food. They're coming. I think so. Between us, we managed to corner them in the cave and take them to safety in the boat. Sheep rescue success. Well, as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this slightly different edition of Rory on Air. Back to full bore flying next time. In fact, on the next video, still in Orkney, but Tommy invited me to go up flying with him again from Lambholm. So he took me up in his Jabiru J430 and we went all around the Orkney mainland over Hoy and the Old Man of Hoy. We went and buzzed the local ferry. And did various other bits of sightseeing around Orkney mainland. So that'll be the next edition of Rory on Air. So do stick around for that, coming up in a week or so's time here on my channel. Do like and subscribe. Please leave me a comment and share and all that sort of stuff. I really appreciate it. It really helps me as I'm trying to grow the channel at the moment. We're doing really well with subscribers and still hoping to do 1,000 by Christmas. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheerio!